Asset protection trusts go by a lot of different names. DAPT, that stands for a Domestic Asset Protection Trust, or a Dynasty Trust, because in Wyoming a trust can last for 1,000 years. They're called self-settled trusts, asset protection trust. They go by a lot of different names, but at the end of the day, all of these trusts have as their outer wrapper Wyoming law. And Wyoming has been in this arms race with many states to create some of the most protective asset protection laws in the country, particularly for self-settled trusts. Let's talk for a second about what a self-settled trust is. A self-settled trust means that I am the settler and I'm putting my money into a trust to protect it from my personal creditors. Third-party trusts, where I put money away for my grandkids. If I put money away for my own kids or put it away for a spouse, that's a third-party trust. Most states allow those, but self-settled, where I'm putting my own money into a trust to protect it from my creditors, is something that not every state allows. And I think it's important to say that a Wyoming Asset Protection Trust is not something for everyone. If you have only risks associated with business endeavors, we think about where is the liability that's going to fall on your shoulders as an individual. If you have more liability than you feel comfortable with, if you've built a really significant net worth and you're afraid that something would happen that could jeopardize everything you've built, then a Wyoming Asset Protection Trust could be for you. Some examples of individuals who can't, what I call, shed their personal liability are a physician. If you're an obstetrician and something happens and a mother and a baby die on the birthing table, you don't have enough insurance. Those lives are priceless. $5-10 million worth of malpractice insurance, it's probably not enough. They're going to come after you for every dime you have. If you're executive of a company, there's things that happen over the life of a company, and sometimes you could be in some real trouble. If you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant working on big deals and you make a mistake on a tax return that winds up costing the client millions or tens of millions of dollars, you probably don't have enough error and omission or director and officer or professional liability insurance. If you are known to be a wealthy individual, you're also a target. It could be a fender bender, but if you're famous, if you're well known, if it's known that you're wealthy, then at that point you could be subject to really big claims. Whether they're right or wrong, those plaintiffs' attorneys are going to look to get everything they can, and particularly going above your insurance policy limits. So many of our clients get to the point where okay, I've maxed out my auto policy, I've maxed out my homeowners, I've maxed out my landlord policy, I've maxed out my umbrella coverage, and I still feel like I'm at risk. At that point, an asset protection trust may be right for you. And some people say, well, how much money do I need for an asset protection trust to be right? It depends. Right? If you're a retiree, you don't drive, you've got all your money in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, there's no risk that comes from that activity. There's no risk in your personal life. I don't know that you ever need an asset protection trust. Now, you may need a trust for tax planning, and we do that as well. These trusts are actually great for that, but you don't need the asset protection features. You need really the tax planning and tax strategy features of it. Where someone who is just out of college, just out of medical school, and really just has their negative $500,000 with medical school debt. They're going to be a thoracic surgeon. They're going to be an obstetrician, and they know that liability is going to be something they can't avoid. That may be right for them. So there isn't one number whether it's right for you or not. But if you have this amount of liability, you feel like you just can't shed and protect yourself with insurance adequately, then an asset protection trust may be right for you. Something to keep in mind, though, with this protection is complexity. These trusts are complex. There's many different parts. This trust will typically have 3, 4, 5 different entities and trusts and other things going on. There's maintenance, there's management. We try to make all of those things easy for our clients, but at the end of the day, it's still a pretty heavy lift. And I like to think of these trusts as being you're creating your family office. So you're creating a company that's going to be really a constellation of different companies and trusts. But at the end of the day, there's a lot there to manage. And are you willing to do that? Because I think in terms of ease, if you can get a massive insurance policy to protect you from these kinds of liabilities and you don't want to do any of the work, then that's going to be a better choice for you. But for those who say, no, I can handle it. You've run businesses, you manage a significant net worth already, then an asset protection trust may be right for you.